What is good, Counter-Strike fans? Welcome to my 8th episode of my HLTV Fantasy. Today we're going to talk about ESL Pro League Season 21, the playoff stage. Before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we only have 11 hours until the playoff stage starts, so gotta get this video out for you all to enjoy. But as we always do, let's take a look at how we did in the group stage for ESL Pro League Season 21. And we got a top 12%, so close to getting top 10, which gave us 12 points to our season standings. When you usually the scores that you want to get for these events, you usually want to get those top 10%. If you get top 10%, you have a higher likelihood of ending up really high. Oh, you'll be almost guaranteed to end up really high in the spring season standings. So close, but yet so far. I believe the thing that screwed me up was in round 3, Brolin losing against Vitality in the way that they lost. I mean, he got a negative 21, and I was even with the booster in there. So if I would have chicken him out for that game, I probably would have been top 10. I'm really bad at chickening people out, especially when it comes to group stages. So I need to work on applying those boosters better for next time, because boosters are really important and actually do matter a lot. But yeah, let's take a look at the best value for money players, and you can see, look at these top 5. I mean, these were the highest likelihood players that were gonna be here. I mean, Donk just far and away the best one. And I think a lot of the lineups that won had Donk and then 3 IGLs. I think it was like Donk, Chopper, Apex, and Alexi, plus JKS in there. So all the people that went with IGLs for the most big players, they actually did the right thing and they won. Ended up winning a couple of skins probably. But yeah, standard top 5. But then you have Sensu, who I did recommend if you want to go with a Mongols player. He did really well. And then with Kadia, who I also recommended as my only one Eternal Fire that I would pick. And then someone that I just told you not to get, Apex, because I didn't think he was going to repeat his Katowice performance. He actually did, and he was actually the 3rd best rated player for Vitality. So he did really well. Yeah, so interesting group stage event. Lots to learn, lots to information to take in. But now we can take a look at the playoff bracket. And in the upper side of the bracket will be Vitality Liquid and Navi versus Mongols. And on the lower side of the bracket, it'll be Mouse G2 and Eternal Fire and Spirit. So the ideal thing is to pick a team from the top bracket and a team from the bottom bracket who you think is going to make it all the way to the finals. And, get the best players possible that you can from them. Now let's take a look at my predictions. And I have Vitality, Spirit again in the finals. Shocker? I don't think so. But let's delve a little bit into the matchups and talk a little bit about it just really quickly. Vitality versus Liquid. Vitality should win this easily 2-0. Liquid have struggled a lot against top teams. I think anyone ranked within that top 10, top 5, Liquid can't seem to be at all. I mean, we remember the choke that they had against FaZe. And I think Liquid are good against bad teams, but when they face, those elite teams that we have in the scene, they just can't seem to, find a way to beat them. And Liquid, I think they should really think about maybe making some changes. I think the roster has stagnated a little bit. Spinks was a great addition in my opinion, but I do believe they need an IGL. And when we have Shuhei out in the market, and and you already have a player that doesn't count against you, for example, like Spinks, because he's from Israel. He doesn't count against the requirements for specific uh, NA Europe team requirements. I think you can get rid of JKS. I think JKS and NAF do the exact same thing. I mean, they're both anchors, and JKS is kind of a lurk as well, and as well as NAF, and so they're kind of stepping on each other's toes, and they both can't seem to, work together as much as we wanted. So I think getting rid of JKS would be the ideal thing, and maybe bring in an IGL, or if they want to go the firepower route and give Twist another rifler that can go crazy, then go right ahead. But I think Shuki would be interesting, especially because you have Ultimate, another Polish person in there. So just food for thought for Liquid. Vitality, easy win. Navi versus Mongols. Navi didn't look. I wasn't too impressed with Navi again. I mean, you saw what happened. If you've seen that clip where Alexi and IM started arguing, it seems like we are seeing some cracks in Navi. And Mongols, they're the kind of team that can upset any of the top 5 easily. They don't really play afraid, and they go out there and just shoot heads. So I do still believe in Navi, but I think it'll be closer than it appears at first. So I think a 2-1, maybe Navi winning that. Mouse G2. I think Mouse should win this easily, honestly. I think Mouse 2-0. G2 looked really poor in the group stage as well. Again, another team that maybe needs to kick off there and kick off one of their players, aka Snacks, and then find an actual ideal like Shuhi. I mean, it'll be a like for like swap, Polish player for Polish player. But yeah, Mouse, I mean, while they look solid, I mean, they're still after win in PGL, Cluj-Napoca. And then G2, I mean, if you saw that round where they had a 3v1, and JL just destroyed them because they went back. I think it was an Ancient. Yeah, when they had an open site and decided to go back to where JL was and lose the round. So very poor from G2. I mean, you even have a quote where Monacy is mentioning how him, Malbs, and Hunter are the ones calling CT sides. G2 is all over the place. I don't think they'll win this. So easy Mouse 2-0. Spirit versus Eternal Fire. I mean, this one I do think Eternal Fire could, make an upset here. I don't think it's as likely as Mongols upsetting Navi, but I mean, Spirit weren't really challenged during the group stage. Eternal Fire, while they still don't look like the same Eternal Fire as the start of the year, I think Centaurus is the type of player that can definitely stop Donk. I mean, we've seen like Nico be able to stop Donk a little bit, not stop him, but contain him a little bit. I think Centaurus is another person as well that can do the same. Even though Centaurus didn't come into this event in the greatest of form and he didn't perform as well, we've seen players like Wicadia and Jota step up for Centaurus missing. But I know Centaurus would love to play against Donk. And I think it's going to be, battering ram against battering ram. I mean, both of these two players are just insane entry fraggers. And it'll be a great matchup. I'll still have Spirit winning that. Then we have Vitality Navi in the upper semifinal, and then Mouse and Spirit in the bottom semifinal. Vitality, I still have Vitality being Navi. I think Vitality, too much firepower, and I don't know why, but they enjoy playing Navi. And I don't know. I just, again, maybe I'm a Vitality fanboy. I don't really have an allegiance, but I have Vitality winning that. Mouse with Spirit, again, could this be another upset right here? Could Mouse, maybe use their good fortunes and their Cinderella story, coming off like their honeymoon phase and from PGL Clash of Vodka and get into another grand finals. They could, but Spirit might be a little too much for them. And then in the grand finals again, we have a rematch of Katowice, Vitality versus Spirit. I have Vitality. Spirit could win this. I mean, it can go either way. I mean, Spirit might have learned a lot from getting embarrassed by Vitality, so 50-50, but would lean towards Vitality. So we're gonna save this, and now we can finally get to building our lineups. But let's take a look at the most picked players, and this is where I have a big issue. Chopper getting chosen over, I believe, like almost 70% of the time. That's insane. 70% of the time happens Chopper, and also over 50% for Apex. It's crazy out here. I mean, I feel like a lot of teams gonna be running the same lineup, and then you have Robs as well with close like over 30%. Alexby, a little bit under that. JK is as well. Shiro and Donk even up there as well with close to 30%, like high 20s, and Roland as well. So a lot of backing Vitality, backing Spirit, and then just getting one of the cheaper players from other teams so they can chicken them out. So a lot of people predicting the same thing as me, Spirit and Vitality grand final. But let's talk about the individual players. I mean, let's start with Spirit. Spirit, the pricing came in again. It's gonna be the usual pricing. I mean, Donk has been 240 for what seems so long now, and he's still gonna be worth it at that price. Like, he makes that grand final, he's gonna be worth 240 for sure. Now, can you build a good lineup around him? Possibly. I mean, it can be done, but Donk, I mean, he's always gonna be worth it at that price. Shiro as well at 218. It's gonna be worth it. If Donk carries, Shiro's always gonna be that second man, second person standing. He's gonna get good ratings. He doesn't die a lot. He just has to, hit a couple op shots. Donk goes in, kills like one or two, and then Shiro goes out and trades them, and it's round over. Basically, Shiro and Donk basically be getting 4 of the kills in the thing, and then you have Chopper, Magix, and Sontics, picking up the rest. In this regard, I mean, Sontics at 207. I'm not liking the pricing. Him and Magix about the same price. If I had to go with one of them, honestly, would rather go Magix. He's been better in the last 3 months. I think people have figured out Sontics, and he just hasn't been the same at all. I mean, when you look at him now from like 1 year ago, he's just been honestly so inconsistent. It just seems that he has like one good map, and then he might like stink it up in the next map. Like he could get like 0.3 rating, map to map. I mean, it's just really inconsistent from Sontics. He can go missing really fast. So I think Magix would be better at the price. Chopper at 188, I don't mind. He hasn't put up the ratings that we would like. With Donk, carrying, but it's not the worst. If I would go here, I would say a boy Sontics. Donk is a maybe. I really like Shiro. Chopper's again like a maybe, and Magix as well. Shiro, I say, is the main star of this at that price because you can build a better lineup surrounding Shiro. But Donk's like always worth it. If you believe Spirit wins the whole thing, go with Donk. Vitality, Saiwu as well, 235. He's been 235 for the longest time as well. He's been worth it every single time as well. Robs 215. Again, I mean, it's the same pair as by Spirit. Is Saiwu is basically Donk, and then Shiro is Robs. I mean, they don't have the same. I mean, Sidewell doesn't have the same upside that Donk has, but he's super consistent and he's really good at what he needs to do and needs to get done for him to be worth that value. And Robs and Shiro as well. It's the same thing as well. Like Robs might have a little bit higher peak than Shiro, but Shiro's more consistent in that regard. Um, but yeah, but at least with Vitality, you have better players surrounding them, Robs and Saibo, I mean, than Spirit does in Shiro and Donk. So Flamesy as well, 211. It's not bad, but ever since Robs has come into the lineup, Flamesy hasn't been getting the same ratings that he had last year. And it goes the same for Messi as well. I think I would avoid Messi completely. I think Robs maybe is taking too much space or too much of the potential ratings that it has hurt both Flamesy and Messi. And then when you have, you know, the OG Apex, you know, putting up 1.11s in the previous event, in the previous group stage event, it's just insane. I would avoid Messi from Vitality. Flamesy, if you want to go differential. Saiwoo's a good buy. He's the same thing as Donk, basically. If you can afford him and you can build a good lineup around him, go ahead. Robs alongside with Shiro, probably my favorite at that price. And I actually like Apex a lot. I wasn't liking him before, but he proved me wrong. And, you know, he has great positions on most maps. You know, he has a lot of good positions and that he can like farm rating from. So, and Liquid should be an easy 2-0 for them. So, Vitality, solid. Navi, it's gonna be the same story as always. However, I will say with Alexi B performing a little bit better in the group stage, I don't mind that 184 for him, especially if you wanted to build a double up on Navi. Double up on Navi would definitely mean no Vitality for sure, but it is an interesting option. I mean, Alexi B comes in at a decent price at 184. Ime as well, 206 is probably my favorite option here in Navi. He's been super consistent for really long, actually. Ever since people have been asking him to get kicked, he has been consistently their second best player. I mean, behind Bit, who comes in at 220. I say it's a little bit much, especially when you have Shiro and Robs at cheaper prices. So I will skip on Bit for now at that price. Jo, Wonderful. I mean, I think Wonderful is an avoid as well at that price. He just has been really poor. Like he's been only putting up 1.6. He could be the next person kicked out of Navi if he doesn't step up, because it seems like he's been on a shocking form for a while now. Jo is fine at 212. My favorite two will probably be Alexi and Ime for Navi. Eternal Fire, could they upset Spirit? They could. Could they run the bottom side of the bracket? They could. Is it likely? Probably not. But there's always a chance. And when there's a chance, you know, you can always take in, get a high percentage team. Wicadia at 204 is the one that stands out to me. He was their best player in the group stage. He's been stepping up a lot more, even ahead of Woxic as well, who I avoid at this price, as well as Centaurus, who at 220, while he could do good, I think we've seen a better overall team, as in like it's not really focused on Centaurus popping off. Although if they want to win this tournament, they will definitely have him. They heavily need Centaurus to pop off. But Wikidia at 204 is a great price, and Jota as well at 194. Major is fine if it's gonna be part of a double up, but as a single player, or as a single player for Eternal Fire, I'll probably just skip on. So I would say my favorites: Wikidia, and then you can pair him with Jota or Major depending on who else you get in your lineup. G2, it's a probably skip. Snacks, no. Hunter, probably not. Monesi at that price, definitely no. Um, Mobs, I don't mind at 204, and Heavy God is fine as well, but yeah, G2, I'm not really liking how they looked in the group stage, and in general, honestly, this whole year. They kind of were a little bit all over the place, and they kind of gave us false hope at the beginning of the year. I mean, they got to the semifinals of the first event, Blast Bounty, but it was because they had an easy matchup in the first round. So don't expect them to get to the semifinals in this tournament, and very unlikely for them to get to the finals at all, or even win the whole thing. But if you wanted to go here, maybe go Mouse and someone like Hunter, or Mouse and Heavy God. So that's what I would pick from G2. Mongols, I mean, could they upset Navi? They could. Could they upset Vitality? They could as well. It's the same thing as Eternal Fire on the other side of the bracket. If you want to take the chance, you can. And they have some great players. I mean, I would avoid Messinho 910. 910 because he's too expensive for what the output has been. And Messinho has been poor, I would say. And you can get someone like Tegna for cheaper, who's been about the same rating as Messinho. My favorite player here is obviously Sensu. He's their star player, and he's been a lot better now ever since his injury has healed. So Sensu would be my favorite, and then you can partner him with Techno if you wanted to go with a more expensive double up on the other side, or even Blitz, who again has been super consistent for Mongols. So go Sensu, and then pair him up with Techno or Blitz. And Mouse is an interesting one for this event. I mean, the prices are amazing, and if I think this should be G2 pretty easily. I mean, Brolin 183 is basically a gift. I mean, he's shown that he can have pop off games. Other than that Vitality game where he had an insane negative score, but other than that, he was doing really well in all the other matches. So I like Brolin, and then I probably pair him up either with Torchy or Jimhat, just because they're so cheap and you can build a better overall lineup with them. Spinks insertion, I'll probably skip on, especially on Pinks. He's trying to find his where he's gonna fit in the team. So a 209, I think, is a little bit too much for Spinks right now at this time. But Searching, it's okay if you want to go a little bit differential. But Mouse in itself is already differential if you double up on them. So, or even if you even go Brolin as well, because you saw how high a percentage like JKS, Alexi, Apex, and Chopper had. So, Mouse, interesting option. And Liquid, I just fade Liquid in general. If you wanted to go here, JKS is a fine chicken out option because he's so cheap. Nerds, if you think Liquid are going to get to the finals, Nerds has to be the one popping off. Twist as well. Naf and Ultimate, just skip on. But now that we got this out of the way, I mean, we saw what the most picked players were, and you saw that it was probably going to be a Chopper, Shiro. I would probably say Brolin in there, Robs and Apex. Yeah, that's probably would be the most popular lineup. I mean, some people might go Alexi B, some people might go Techno, and some people might go Brolin and JKS. I'd probably say if I had to go with any of these cheap bronze players, I'd probably go Brolin, because he has the highest upside of any of them. Techno is fine as well, and Alexi B. And I'll skip on Major, don't go in Snacks ever, and then JKS. But if you're not going with, Alexi, Techno, and Brolin, you're definitely checking in out Major, Snacks, and JKS for their first round matchups. But this is probably going to be the most popular team. So I kind of want to deviate from it in some way because while this is safe and this will probably get you a top 20, we're looking to, hope for, one of these two teams to get upset. And the first lineup I'm going to show you is actually a Donk lineup, which is really interesting because we're going with Spirit and Navi. So we're hoping that Vitality gets upset in the first round. And this lineup has Chopper, Donk, JKS, Emet, and Alexi V. In general, it's a good lineup. I mean, it's definitely something that could occur. I mean, you would obviously chicken out JKS for the first round, and then lean on Donk to carry you and basically get all your points that you need. Then you would need Navi to be Vitality, and so having a Navi Spirit final would be how this lineup gets to that top 5% or those high percentage points. It's an interesting lineup. I like it, but right now it's my third favorite team because I don't know if Navi have looked the strongest, and I think also Spirit might have a higher likelihood to get upset. I know Vitality, I talk about, upset for Spirit when Vitality is literally the team that probably gets upset the most in playoff stages. They look really good in the group stage, and then when they face that first team, they just get bounced. It happens a little bit too frequently for my liking. But if you want to go Donk, this is probably the lineup I go with. My second favorite lineup is actually this one. And this one we have a Vitality double up with a Mouse double up and then a Spirit player. Here we have the popular combination of Apex and Robs. Mouse players are great value. If they beat G2 convincingly, they'd probably have enough value in them to be worth it. And then you could maybe chicken out Brolin for Spirit. And then if somehow Mouse are able to beat Spirit, you have basically a top 5%, 10% lineup easily. And you also get a Spirit player. This could be, you can afford Sontex as well, but like I said, I like Magix more. He's been more consistent than Sontex. And I feel like he likes playoff stages a lot more than Sontex, it seems. So yeah, this is a strong lineup. One that I've been thinking about a lot. If Mouse were to like fail out, we still have that backup in Spirit, and so I still have 3 players in the finals. And Mouse, hopefully they get enough points against G2. So this is another lineup that I like, but my favorite lineup right now and the one that I might go with, I mean, right now I have maybe 20% on this lineup, 40% on this one, and the next one, it's going to be a Saiwu lineup at 60% likelihood that I'm going to go with. I mean, I already have the boosters ready, so I might get, I might just settle with this one. But we have Apex, Saiwu, and again, Torchy and Brolin with Chopper as my 5th. And again, here is where we're going to hope for Saiwu to pop off, Vitality to get to the grand finals, not even the grand finals, sorry. Get to the finals, Vitality beat Spirit maybe, and they have like the same thing that happens in Katowice, and then we'll look pretty good in this event. I mean, it's a good lineup in my opinion. I think the difference between Magis and Chopper is not much, but the difference between Saiwu and Robs is a lot more. Saiwu is more consistent. He gets a lot higher ratings, and we've seen that Saiwu and Donk are basically far and above any other player right now in the Counter-Strike scene. Yeah, so this is probably going to be my lineup. Let me know what you think, and let me know your lineups down below in the comments. And yeah, hopefully we see a Vitality Saiwu MVP performance. If not, then I'm hoping and praying for Spirit's downfall and going with Mouse, and hopefully they'll be able to, upset Spirit, or Spirit to get upset early on. But yeah, other than that, good luck with your teams and see you for the next event later.